Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Granite Staters bundle up against bitter cold. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance. Just
waiting for their bus, school children in Manchester were bundled up against the cold. Unlike many districts, there was no delayed opening. For Nafita Sanj and her children, winter is a lot different here than in their native Congo.
Mais il fait froid, very cold today.
Most people seem to be limiting their time outdoors and making sure that if they had to be out, they were prepared, heeding the advice, dressing in layers.
Extra shirts, a thicker hat, and I tied my scarf extra tight.
Just gonna stay in once I get back from work because it's just too cold to be out and doing anything.
But for some, like Manchester DPW workers, staying inside was not an option. A supervisor says when it gets this cold, they make sure the workers are supplied with warm gloves and something to cover their face. They will also rotate to make sure they spend some time in the warm cab. Of course, though, this is New England, and some weren't about to let wind chills below zero change their routine.
A couple extra layers, a scarf, gloves.
And iced coffee.
And iced coffee, of course.
The good thing about this cold snap is that it's just that. Next week, we could be looking at temperatures in the 40s. In Manchester, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Rare hawk rescued in New England during snowstorm is euthanized. Let's take a listen to the video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
this season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
Some sad news on that rare Black Hawk from South America found in the frigid cold up here in Portland. Staff at the Avian Haven and Freedom, posting on the organization's Facebook page, say the bird had to be euthanized. The decision was made on Wednesday with additional vets as well as 2 wildlife biologists from the bird group of Maine's Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Officials say the frostbite damage had become so bad that both of the bird's legs were decomposing. All involved agreed that is, it was the most humane action that they could take.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Mother of Sandy Hook victim spreads message of love in New Hampshire schools. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
They are the simple words of a first grader that are spreading a positive message to schools across the country. 6-year-old Jesse Lewis was one of 19 students murdered in the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Days before his death, Jesse wrote the words "nurturing, healing love" on the family chalkboard.
Those words were phonetically spelled, but I knew instantly that if the perpetrator had been able to give and receive nurturing, healing love, that the tragedy would never happen.
Scarlett Lewis has dedicated her life to spreading that message through the Jesse Lewis Choose Love movement. She has created a free downloadable curriculum that teaches messages of forgiveness, gratitude, love, and compassion. It's being taught in schools in every state, including more than 200 right here in New Hampshire.
And very quickly we said, this is something we want to do statewide. And we included it as part of our Safe School Infrastructure Task Force report as one of the top recommendations that all schools should really be looking at.
And we put it all together in a program that's easy to teach, easy to learn. We made it fun.
Scarlett and the governor are putting together a public service announcement that will run during February in support of the Choose Love message. Scarlett says she will continue to spread the word to honor her son and save other families from her enduring pain.
I hope that his memory encourages people to make that choice and to choose love and to be part of the solution.
Scarlett feels strongly that if the Choose Love program is taught in all schools, another Sandy Hook tragedy can be prevented. Reporting live, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Four people injured in Rochester school bus crash. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Monica Hernandez.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
And police blame snowy roads for a school bus crash that injured 3 students and a teenager. Rochester police say the teen driving this Jeep slowed down so another driver could make a turn this morning. The bus driver behind him tried to slow down too, but slid on the snow, rear-ending that Jeep. The teenager and 3 students on the bus were taken to the hospital, but thankfully they are expected to be okay.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Thursday evening. And here's a look at your U.S. stock market for this Thursday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. U.S. 10-year closed in the red and went down. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VX closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 rises on strong earnings, closing out the best January since 1987. Stocks rose to close out their best January in 3 decades as strong earnings and a Federal Reserve indicating it will pause rate hikes considered investors to rush back into the market following a various December sell-off. Top Dem want initial chief to stage intervention with Trump. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumerman is blasting President Trump for his extraordinarily inappropriate criticism of testimony from the nation's internal chief before Congress earlier in the week and called on them to initially stage an intervention with the president. Trump on Thursday said he will be proven right. And now some Super Bowl news for you all. Rams general manager takes trip down memory lane with CBS 46 reporter. Let's take a look at that video. Okay, looks like we're having a little technical difficulties. Give us 1 minute. Hold on. Sorry about that one.
The Rams general manager coming to Atlanta for the Super Bowl is really kind of a reunion, kind of a homecoming. For years, Les Snead worked in the front office for the Falcons.
Well, this morning, we're getting some exclusive insight into the man known as the brains behind the LA Rams. CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm is here. And Rebecca, you actually have a very personal, a very long history with the Rams general manager.
Yeah, we've known each other since we were in middle school. But you know what? We hadn't seen each other in many years. We caught up this week and we had a fun little trip down memory lane.
A long time.
It really has.
Les Snead, the general manager for the Los Angeles Rams, has deep roots here in the heart of the South. I mean, this is incredible. You are here at the Super Bowl.
Well, if you're in the NFL, this is the pinnacle.
Les and I went to high school together in Eufaula, Alabama, about 2.5 hours from Atlanta. In 1989, I was a junior, a cheerleader with big hair. Les was a senior. There you are.
There you go, blonde hair.
A captain of the football team, named All-State Offensive Guard. Of course, he prefers to let others get the glory.
I want to bring up Fred Smith, right? He might have been if we won any games, it's because of Fred Smith.
Les admits he was obsessed with football as a kid. Each year during the NFL draft, he would stay home.
Had to skip school a little bit. In those days, no iPhones or anything like that, so any of the friends that wanted to know who their teams were picking, they'd get on the school payphone and call me on the little, what do you call it, phone?
The little rotary?
Yeah, rotary phone.
After playing football at Auburn University and then working in the team's office, Snead went to work for the Jacksonville Jaguars and then the Atlanta Falcons, where he spent 15 years, eventually as director of player personnel.
Big part of me being here is when Thomas Dimitroff came in as GM, hired Mike Smith. We drafted Matt Ryan. The Falcons had never had back-to-back winning seasons, and I think we had 5 straight winning seasons.
In 2012, he was hired by the Rams as general manager. Since then, Snead has assembled an incredible team, now under the direction of the young head coach he hired, Atlanta native Sean McVay.
We joked that because we grew up in the South, we're basically pretty much idiots to everything other than football.
Snead never has been one to try to take credit for his successes, instead pointing to the teachers and coaches who helped mold him along the way.
Coach Woodham's unbelievable.
Coach Woodham.
Still keep up with, he texts me after every game.
Does he really?
No doubt.
Before we wrapped up our little reunion, I pointed out something I noticed in our yearbook. I'm like, look at that, Les Snead, weightlifting state champion. So I'd go to the weightlifting page.
Right.
You're not in the picture.
Wow.
Was it draft day?
Yeah, maybe we're skipping school.
Yeah, it's probably safe to say his teachers can forgive him now. We're going to call it a little career training exercise. You'd better believe our little town of 13,000 has a lot of Rams fans now pulling for its GM, Les Snead. Rebecca Schramm, CBS 46 News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all enjoyed watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, everyone. Bye.